Are we on air?
Nearly.
So.
There's a way to start.
We were on air today, sideways.
Yeah, I know. You jumped straight into that right-hander without telling me we were going to go airborne.
Yeah. Did you need any heads up?
It would have been nice.
Why? It ruins the fun. Should I read you a book as well?
Mate, you could have read a book. You had so much extra capacity going on inside your head, and I'm just sitting there having a meltdown, basically.
Yeah, the face expressions are just brilliant.
Yeah. Hey, we've started before we've started.
Oh, yeah, we haven't officially started.
No.
Easy now. Easy now.
What?
I knew that was going to happen.
Every guest we have, they all like the different reactions are just gold.
This is the most horrible when you order a jingle on Wish.
Hey, guys, and welcome to the Drive Talk podcast, powered by Michelin. Now, we are here at Apex Nürburgring with a very, very special guest.
Ah.
When did he arrive?
Yeah, is he on his way?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Kevin Estre couldn't make it today. That's why I'm going to be replacing him.
Yeah, we got this character down the end. Yeah, no, jokes aside, it's so cool to be here. I know Misha's been top of our list since we started the podcast. We're dying to get him on, but of course, Misha lives at the Nürburgring and we live in the UK. So this is the first time that we've ventured a long way and for the right reason, because I think this is going to be really entertaining and fun and interesting all in one package.
And what a backdrop, and what a desk ornament. We are powered by Michelin, and we have the Apex Taxi GT2 RS Manthey with Michelin tyres on it.
Yep, some Cup 2s.
Yeah, normally I have a big Michelin tyre in front of the desk, but we couldn't bring that on the road trip, but we've got 4 little baby ones.
We have, yeah, and they're probably worth more than the big one.
That model is awesome. Anyway, Mish, welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've got so much we want to talk about.
We have. Yes. Well, yeah, as we say, firstly, thanks for your time, Misha. It's great to be here. I love coming to the ring. And a lot of that in my recent years has been you and not just the Nürburgring. You know, it's like it's a package. You come down here and I'm lucky enough to be able to hang out with you and stuff. So we've got so much to cover in this podcast. And I think before we sort of start delving into it, I've just recently listened to a podcast that you're on, along with a lot of other people. I think it's fast approaching 200,000 views for the right reason. And that's a Road to Success, where you're a guest. And I think if you want to know about Misha's past, because Misha goes into a fair amount of detail on that, almost day by day, I think.
Pretty much.
But it's really interesting because I didn't know most of the stuff of your past because I've only known you 6-7 years or something. So check that out. We'll put a link in the description because it's really good. But on this podcast, we're going to really focus on the here and now, or let's say the past 5 or 6 years, and certain parts of those years, certain standout bits.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure most of the guys listening to this will know who you are, but do you want to give a kind of executive summary of who you are and what you do?
Sure. I mean, in short, I'm a content creator who happens to live at the Nürburgring, every day shooting multiple videos. And by now, after having had all kinds of different forms of content about the Nürburgring, from daily vlogs to where to get the best steak or tiramisu, now evolved to basically just driving all kinds of different cars here at the Nürburgring from all kinds of people, to which I want to say a massive thank you for my very loyal subscribers, and also random people that I just randomly meet here and they say like, would you like to drive my car? And I'm like, let's go. And that's what I've been doing like as of now. Of course, we're here at Apex. That's what everyone has been linking my name to, together with Robert, with Diana, and all the other key player figures here in the company. It's a company, for people who don't know, we offer rentals, we have a hotel. We used to do ring taxi. We still have a ring taxi license, but we decided to drop that part of the business. We offer instructions. But most of the day, I'm now busy with creating content, editing, shooting, and the rest I try to enjoy life with my to-be wife, with our 2 dogs, and time in the gym. Yeah.
Yes, lots of time in the gym.
And we should mention Pancake.
Yes.
Because today is World
Dog Day.
Dog Day.
Yes.
So I've got 2 dogs at home, the Petrol Pup and the Petrol Pooch. And I really, when I came here, I went, I've got to meet Pancake, and I met her tonight.
Yes.
How many followers has Pancake got?
I think it's close to 11,000 or something.
But nearly as many as me.
But I need to post more often. I do like 1 or 2 times a year or so.
Yeah. And actually, while we're on the subject of followers, today is a big day for you.
Yeah.
What happened today?
I hit 800,000 on YouTube.
That is immense.
It's just amazing. I mean, we're going to talk about the numbers a bit later, but as you say, that's literally just happened, hasn't it? Like a couple of hours ago or something.
Yeah.
And your numbers are just astounding. I mean, they're upsetting for the likes of us. And you can, you know, you've been there and grinded. And but I mean, the last couple of years, it's just been amazing. But the effort reaps reward, and fair play, man. 800,000, mate. You're going to be at 1 million before the end of the year.
That's the goal, the plan, the wishful thinking that we have, for sure.
Yeah, there's a YouTube plaque coming your way.
Yeah, finally,
yes.
Because the 100K plaque I never gotten.
Oh, really?
I never got a notification or an invite to claim one, so I'm like, I want to have some. That might be my only achievement in life on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, well.
I'll tell you what, Misha, honestly, when your 1 million one comes, if you want to do a quick swap with me, like I've got mine still packaged up and everything, you're welcome to have the 100K one, no problem.
Nice, but I'm gonna do a lap with it first. So.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So you and I, we met. We were trying to figure out off camera
When we met.
where we met and when
It's
we
been
met.
too many cars ago.
It has been too. Yeah, we're sort of piecing the cars together. That's what I do with my life. But it's like, what year was that? And then I think, what car did I have? And then suddenly it all comes together. But I think it was the first time I actually hung out properly with you was a Fuel Faction trip with Tim.
Yes.
Cheers, Shmi.
Cheers, yeah.
And that was 2017, wasn't it?
Yes, correct. It was in May. It might be end of April.
Yep.
Or like first 2 weeks of May was something around that time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then obviously I've met you loads of times out here and had lots of good times out here. But so I think around then you were just setting up Apex, and maybe we can move forward, because I know from sort of 17 to 19 there was quite a lot of change with you, what you were doing, your life, your sort of job, etc. Can you talk us through kind of what happened there and
For sure. Because this is actually like this very important part of my life, especially like what you said from 2017 to 2019, especially 2019 was extremely big year for me in terms of it was my most horrible year probably. And I haven't mentioned that on the previous podcast, so to say. So I think people will be interested to hear that, how we ended up here and a couple of key moments. So as I mentioned, 2017, we started Apex. We were working on it to build up the company where we're sitting right now. Actually, this office space, it was only built in beginning of 2020. Before it was like empty barn. It was a workshop, but only beginning of 2018, we had the lift here. So it took a full year. So 2017, it was the full year that we started Apex to do all the promotion regarding the company activities, buying the cars, figuring out what the hell we will be doing actually with the company. We had great vision and we're just like, yes, let's go for it. And it was happening so fast. And towards the end of 2017, that's when we got the chance to place a bid for the ring taxi license. And this is something that you get to do if you get the license to be able to do ring taxis. It's for the next 3 years. So we were thinking like, okay, are we ready for this? But the problem is, okay, in ideal situation, we would have waited 1 year, maybe 2 years and get resources ready. But we're like, okay, if we don't do it now, in 3 years, that might be too late. You know, we might be bored out of it, or we knew like, okay, we need to do it. So we placed a bid on it and we got it. And we're like, all right, let's go. What's next? We're still in the process of building up the company. And now all of a sudden we have this massive operation on our hands of running ring taxi. Now this means that we have to compete with 3 other companies because it's being given to 4 companies in total. You're allowed to run 2 cars. In our case, it was back then McLaren 720S and F80 M3 competition with some Team Schirmer upgrades. Probably like a very known car by now. But aside from that, it's not only buying the cars, preparing them for the ring. Most importantly, on top, you need to have people. You need to people standing there to basically sell people laps, to do all the customer administration processing, also customer contact. Later on, the year following, when we actually made the F80 M3 completely with 4 bucket seats and stuff, we needed to have 3 more extra people on site to buckle people in before every ride. So there's lots of stress coming down. Now, on top of that, in beginning of 2018, I broke up with my former girlfriend, Diana. So there was like lots of stress for me mentally.
Yep.
Things coming up like that. On top, so we are running Apex, we're starting the taxi operation. And on top of that, like this first year, whereas before at the Nürburgring, with the previous years at the Nürburgring, all the taxi companies, they were kind of allowed to stand wherever. And now Nürburgring wanted to have some sort of a like order. So they put everyone in the current taxi car park. For everyone, it makes sense now because you have just like a small car park and you have all 4 companies combined there sitting in a container. But you can imagine the first time that it happened, one guy comes in and it's like a meme, like four companies attack him. You want to be in my taxi? Come jump in with me, you know? And they're like, but I can get you a better price. I can do this, but we have a better car. And people like really bitching about everything and everyone.
Right.
It was, we were trying to stay out of it, but I understand also sometimes it was not possible for whatever reason. They, like, you might have a bad day and you might say like, dude, you go away or something. And then it was a total chaos on that front. I had a breakup, and then on top, I also heard that my dad got cancer from his sister. She messaged me saying like, well, this is what happened. And I'm like, well, why do I hear it from you? You know, and then I reached out, and then this whole year started like a massive downpour of me flying to Russia, trying to help him out, to save him, and et cetera, which was a completely horrible, terrible time. And at the same time, I'm also like, I'm dealing with this breakup while we're still working together.
Yep.
So we kind of, at one point, we wanted to kill each other.
It was toxic.
It was horrible, yes. At that point, we also got back together, actually, through 2018. We tried until the end of the year.
Yep.
And then 2019, we had another breakup, which we'll follow into later. But yes, 2018 was already like kind of tough. But at the same time, things started more or less to kick off for me professionally, personally. Like YouTube did not really take off because I think it took me till 2019 that I reached my 100,000 subscribers. I think it took me 2 years, and nowadays it takes me a month. Like this year, you know.
Just stop it. Yes, honestly, just carry on with your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the sub story. So you can...
Not the sob story, the sub story.
He grows more subscribers in a day than either of us do in a month.
I know.
Combined, probably, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks
carry
for
on,
tuning in. Yeah.
Should we go to the pub now?
I just want to say we're out here, obviously, to see Misha, to shoot some content and stuff. And we've been filming some bits on the M2 and the 1M. Thanks to Nextbase, who have sponsored those videos, who are really good dash cam company that I've used in my chauffeuring cars for many years, and more recently in my M3 Touring. I'm sure Misha, having a Russian background, will know a lot about dash cam footage.
Absolutely. And about dashing traffic here on the Nürburgring.
Yes, and dashing traffic. Yeah. Well, you've got a permanent dash cam going on in your car.
One of them.
Yeah, exactly. And so, big shout out to those guys for the videos that we're filming out here. And we've actually got one here. So I just want to show you. This is a 622. We've been trialing the new IQ, which is really interesting. Hasn't quite been released yet. But this is the 622, which is a flagship model. And actually, this is not going home with us. It's going to Misha.
Yay, for my new car.
For your new car.
Which I'm not announcing yet. But
And you've got, you heard that
It's
first.
like Christmas.
And you got a rear view camera there.
wow.
And
140 degrees wide angle.
and you got a little carry case and a nice big memory card. So
Nice.
there you go.
Fantastic.
We thought we'd just
256, that's not particularly small.
no, exactly.
It's
That's what
pretty
she
big.
said.
Hey.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Did I just say that?
Yeah, you did.
might need to bleep that one, Patrick. But anyway, yes. So keep an eye out for our videos that we're doing with Nextbase out here at the ring, because they're going to be pretty good.
They sure are. As long as the weather holds off tomorrow.
As long as the weather holds off, which is a big thing out here.
It was starting going quite okay with the channel. I was still like posting daily vlogs, but at the time I also got would I say it like a job at Audi for hosting their show.
Yeah.
So we're doing like What's Up Audi. It was a bi-weekly YouTube show where we talked about Audi news, about the latest models, but also, of course, how by eliminating all the plastic force in the cafeteria of Audi, we're reducing the plastic waste and saving the seals.
Did they use the word sustainability at all?
Of course.
Oh, yes. I thought they might have done. Yeah.
And
Fantastic.
The daughter company of Audi, Lamborghini. You know, it's cool. And the daughter company of the daughter company, Ducati. Like, you know, it was like, yes. No, it was a very great time I had there, but it was for me like, you know, because previously to that, what you can hear on the other podcast, I was like gone through lots of betrayal simply, you know, was like trying to get back up, and I was saying yes to everything. I'm like, yes, Audi show. Then I got all of a sudden TV show for Germany. Yes, I do that. I do this, I do that. So the peak in 2019, a quick fast forward there, we had again another breakup. We had on our peak of taxi operation because we were running again another McLaren full Shermer car. We had all kinds of things. We were like booming in business. I was still doing again this bi-weekly show with Audi. I was filming the what's it called, this German TV show. And on the 4th of March, I remember I was with Volkswagen in Sweden of 2019. I got a WhatsApp message from the wife of my dad. Yeah, your dad passed away. I'm like, and to be honest, at that point, I'm like, okay, well, it didn't do anything to me because prior to that, over the last couple of years, I was getting phone calls from them, messages like, your dad is dying right now. You need to come. You need to go immediately. Like, otherwise you'll never see him again. I jump on the last plane. I hop in over there. I arrived there and he is, well, of course he's sick, but he's doing quite okay. I'm like, what's up? Like, he got better, but since you're here, could you leave us some money?
Okay.
I'm like,
Oh, man.
all right, great. So, you know, I buried him already like 4 or 5 times in my head by being on a plane to Russia. Yeah. And by the time I get this message, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, it happened. That was on the moment itself. But then as I started processing throughout the whole year, it became like, it started like really taking toll on me. Now, on top of, while I was doing all of those things, I started racing. I decided, okay, I have now the money to actually do racing because racing is, you don't get paid. You need to pay to race here. The Nürburgring, what a lot of people don't think.
We need to talk about that in a big way because it's super interesting.
We should definitely talk about that. But so I started driving. Like the first, I entered with a BMW M240 Cup car in the Cup class. The first 3 races, P1. Out of like actually quite a decent amount of starters. So I think like, I don't know, 10, 15 starters. So it was a good field with actually good competitive guys. So I was all over the moon. 4th race, I was 2 down the night before because of all the stuff happening. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't this. I couldn't that. The race itself was hot. I zoned out. My head was completely not there. And I remember actually quite vividly, I saw... actually someone in the paddock with a t-shirt, and it was something like in memory of my dad or something, you know, and I'm like, and it hit me personally, you know, so it kind of stuck with me. So everything combined with all the pressure and everything, I just like forgot to brake and went straight into a wall. Like there's a video out there, and that all the lovely haters out there like to say like, you're such a shit driver because how can you forget to like do this? I'm like, yeah, you're such a terrible human being because I believe 20 years ago you shit in your pants when you were a baby. So you probably do it every day still. Like, like, you know,
because everyone's perfect, aren't they?
Exactly. And the stuff they've done a long time ago, they probably keep on doing it for... Anyway, had this crash, then later recovered, did a couple of more races, had another crash, lots of financial responsibilities because you need to pay for your crashes.
Yeah.
I think that year I spent like close to 60 grand on racing, 18,000 of which was for or 16,000 for the, what's it called? The damage, because it was 2 write-offs, one because my fault, and the second one partially my fault because the GT3 car just pushed me off the track, and that was kind of it. So with everything combined, it was the most terrible year that I had. It was maybe financially one of the best years I had up until that point, but it drained me completely. That I was when you watch the videos from back in the day, so you see me with a massive fat face, I gained actually a lot of weight because I was at some point drinking close to 1 bottle of whiskey a day.
Yep.
And while still I was not driving as much as I do nowadays, because I shouldn't be driving, of course, obviously, but like instructing, so at least I was kind of doing sort of a job. But it was like, it's obviously nights before racing, I would not go into a heavy binge drinking or something, but it was bad. So at some point towards the end of the year, when with everything like kind of collapsed on me, I was just like sitting on the couch, and again, we had this toxic relationship here, and I okay, I'm done with this place. Especially with having all these like fantastic signed up N24 winning drivers out there commenting how bad of a person I am because I crashed a car once or something, and some people wishing me that hopefully I'm gonna die in the next crash, like people writing that kind of stupid shit. So at that point I'm like, Nürburgring, like really, I'm done with this place. I want to get out. And I had a great opportunity to move to Rimac. By now everyone knows probably Rimac, but back then it was still a fairly unfamiliar company, fairly small in comparison to today's standards. But yeah, I applied there. I got a job as being the head of digital content or something, or digital content coordinator. But basically everything with digital wise, it was going through me. But the funny story, although I knew Mate already back then, I knew Marta, which is again another funny story, which we might touch up on, because previously I did a Boosted Boris episode at Geneva Motor Show, and there were lots of stupid jokes and a lot of like also sexist jokes, which like nowadays it would be completely cancelled. And I posted it on the 8th of March, which was International Women's Day. And then Marta, who was head of marketing and PR, and she saw this, and then her mom saw this, and they're like, I hate this Misha guy, so they're absolutely furious. But Mate, he was like going along with my jokes and making fun of it. And there's actually a quote on Boosted Boris channel, like you can see the video. It's like, you're actually a smart guy. You should come to what's it called? Come work for us. Like back in the day. And then fast forward, we actually ended up working there. I was at SEMA in Las Vegas, 2019, last year, SEMA pre-COVID lockdowns with Bill Stein. And I had my job interview actually on my birthday. It was 11th of November with the final confirmation interview. Do you really want to actually do this? What would you like to do it? And I overslept it.
Because you'd have been out having a bit of juice?
No, actually not. It was because it was so much time difference. So we were traveling through the whole desert stuff, and the interview was scheduled like for 1 a.m. So like, okay, I'm passing out. Okay, at 11, I'm going to put, what's it called? The alarm, and then I just slept. And so I wake up and like, shit. All the WhatsApp messages from Marta. Are you still interested in working for us?
Oh no.
What a great start.
Great first impression.
Brilliant.
But no, everything went great. And that was in November. In December, I went there already to sign everything, to do my first actually intern for like 2 weeks. And I decided, okay, I'm moving to Croatia. I'm going to start a new life. That was like, okay, goodbye Nürburgring, kinda. Not completely, because the contract that I had with them still allowed me to do, whatever I want, basically, as long as I would fulfill my obligations for the company. This also meant I could go to the Nürburgring, because I still had the job with Audi back in the days, which we would be filming every 2 weeks in Ingolstadt or Munich, depending on location. And that's exactly between Nürburgring and Zagreb in Croatia. So I would travel there, then drive on further. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday shoot, so I would go for Wednesday there, shoot it, drive on to Nürburgring, spend the weekend here, and then drive back to Zagreb at night or like an afternoon, arrive there, and Monday morning I'll be again at work. Now, 2020, we know what all happened then, of course. So although this was for me still the job of the dreams, it was the best time I had ever with Rimac. It was the best possible company, the best experience. And even now when I go back like over winter and I walk through the company, we're filming with Mate some factory tour or something, everyone's still coming to me like, hey Misha, good to see you, good to see you. And I see someone watching my videos. And now when they were here for the lap record, maybe we'll talk about it later, all the engineers were like, oh, so you're going to drive the car and this and that. So we're very in a good touch and very good. It was amazing. But back at the time, so there were two problems. First of all, of course, COVID ruined everyone's life. And for me in that regard, because when I applied for the job, like, yes, my new life. And we're going to unveil back then it was C2. We were still like formulating the name, like, which now it's Rimac Nevera. We're going to unveil the C2. We're going to travel the world. We have now 60 events booked. I'm going to, for the first time, to Pebble Beach. I'm going to like, visit all these things and like be in the car community, and forget about it. Done. Like lockdown, home office. And actually home office in the lockdown was for me not that bad, because I remember it very good. It was Friday the 13th of March that stuff started to go south. For me, the biggest frustration as for the whole company was, of course, the whole cancellation of Geneva Motor Show, because the cars went there already on the truck. We had it prepared. We wanted to unveil it there. Well, it didn't happen. But then we started hearing that the whole country is going to go on lockdown, because obviously someone like Mate and stuff and someone there, they have connections to the government, and they say like, well, the whole country is going to be closed. I'm like, and what are we doing? Well, we're going to at least do 2 weeks of home office and probably even more. I'm like, okay. I rushed home. I ran. I emptied the fridge, threw everything away, put everything in suitcase, grabbed it in the car, jumped in, started driving like immediately to Germany. Like barely escaped the Croatian border. By the time I arrived in Austrian border, I got pulled over. Like, where are you going? I showed them my Dutch passport. Like, I'm going home. Yeah, okay, pass on. And then it was like the whole world went on lockdown.
Wow.
On Saturday, we had here a VLN practice, or back at the time, and no NLS, well, the same potato. And it was like this very grim sphere. Like they're like, well, this might not happen or something. And I remember the following day, I think we had TF. It was the first opening day of TF, while the world was already closing up. And we were filming with all the people in the car park and everything. It was great and fantastic and amazing. And I remember I had like this small message from the local community, like, Misha, can you please wait with posting videos, because it's what we're doing here might be perceived very bad. And you could see actually later, for example, the biggest example I remember, Shmi, he was posting stuff that he filmed back in November of him visiting some car collection in US, and people slamming him in the comments like, how dare you to travel, save the NHS. Like, these kinds of things. And of course, like, okay, we might be joking about it. And of course, there's good reason behind it. But I think there's somewhere middle ground. You should not be completely go crazy about things. Where was I? Talking about how I got here. Yes, doing home office.
Yeah.
So I ended up here for like about a month of doing home office. Then I eventually had to go back, of course, picking up the projects. But here, all of a sudden, you had completely different sense of situation. We were starting getting friendly and along and everything. And then as the year went by, I was still coming back here every 2 weeks or so. And every time I was going back, it was for me harder to leave. I'm like, okay, like, I'm going to leave at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. And then like, okay, let's do a couple of more laps. And then someone comes by here with a Senna, like, you want to hop in for the lap? Let's do that. And actually, back at the time, I realized, okay, well, let's film like 7 or 8 onboard videos or something if I can, and then I can post them one every second day. And that actually not only helped the channel alive, it was actually quite good. It helped the channel forward, because people were enjoying these like ride-alongs at the time. I was not even driving myself, and it went quite well. But at some point, I realized, okay, as much as I love Rimac and I would love being there and envisioned myself completely settling there, finding a Croatian girl, which I was actually in process of doing, and everything was actually quite going well. I'm like, I love the Nürburgring more. And I went eventually like to Marta and to Mate. I said, guys, as much as I love you, but I want to I'm gonna quit here. I'm gonna end it here, because I feel that my heart is actually now back at the Nürburgring. And there were lots of efforts done, which I really appreciate. Like, you don't like Croatia? I'm like, no, I love it here. It's the best country. I would move here in a heartbeat. And we're now looking at buying a house in Croatia, because I don't see myself staying here forever, or at least not a long part of the year. No, I love it here. Like, do you want more money? I'm like, no. It's like, oh, everyone wants more money, but that's not the point. I was like, like, do you want to work maybe 1 month here and 1 month there? I'm like, I have difficulties now being there for 3 days. I'm not gonna, like, if I'm there for a month, I will be just driving. I'm definitely not gonna be doing anything. But so long story short, I left on very good terms with them. That's why I'm still able to do what I'm doing with them, because there's like no bad blood and everything. It's really good and great. And to conclude that chapter, I would say, like I said, it was the best experience ever that I had in the car industry or whatsoever, because Mate himself says, like, years at Rimac are dog years. 1 year there is actually like 7 years or 5 years. The amount of stuff that you learn from the car industry, what is happening, why it's happening, and of course now them being key player, like another fun story, since we're car guys, and I think you're gonna enjoy this. This is actually amazing, because by now everyone knows the Bugatti deal, like that Rimac took over Bugatti in return for the shares for Volkswagen Group. Yeah. So back in 2020, obviously, that was when the whole deal was starting. Already they were talking behind there were like all kinds of meetings and stuff that I cannot talk about. But the funny part, back in 2020, I got a phone call from Al Clark. Maybe you know him, the filmmaker.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, COVID, yada yada, I cannot make it there, but my friend from Bugatti, they're bringing some cars and they would like to have some content. Could you please assist on site? I'm like, sure, let's do that. Put me in touch. So I got in touch and saying, hey, we're coming there. We would like to have some, we bring post-port prototype of the Chiron. We would like to have some pictures. Could you organize that? And maybe we can do maybe also some with you, because Al said that you have a YouTube channel, so maybe we can do something. And what's your like biggest, can you send me some statistics? What's your biggest video? And at the time, my biggest video was a so-called Bugatti Chiron review that I filmed. Did I ever tell you that story? Did you ever hear it? No. So again, another thing. So we're going again back in time. This is where the podcast gets messy, but it's fun. People gonna enjoy these stories. So flashback to 2016, winter of 2016. Yes, 2016. That's when I got like completely. Let's not talk about details. But anyway, 2016, the winter in Russia, sitting there, just lost my job from Ring Garage, having no money whatsoever. And then a friend of mine who is the largest car journalist in Russia, she messaged me like, hey, the first Chiron arrived in the Russian dealership. I know the owner is a good friend of mine, and you can go there if you want to. Maybe you can make some pictures, videos for whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I called the guy up. He's like, yeah. She told me about you. But hey, so you're like, what do you do? I'm like, yeah, I'm just YouTube. Yeah, no, YouTube is fine, because they told us absolutely no journalists whatsoever near that car.
I can see where this is going.
So I'm like, okay, thanks. So they left me there with a security guard. I could film whatever. So I filmed a video with myself, like showing like, hey guys, review of Chiron, walking around, sitting there, playing with the radio. And then on top, I also did the Boosted Boris video, where Boosted Boris is getting out of the Lada, going into the dealership, saying, this is a capitalist piece of shit, I'm going back. He goes back to the Lada. So that video got in, I think within 2 days, it had close to 1 million views, because it was the only video of a Chiron up close available at the time. With me on top saying such things like that about Chiron from Boosted Boris perspective and myself, the guy from a dealership called me like almost with tears in his eyes, begging me, can you please, I'm really sorry that it went this way. Can you please take down the video, because the things that Bugatti told us, I cannot even tell you what they told us. It's so horrible. I never expected that. Like, well, so fast forward, like, what is it? Like 4 years later, I'm having the phone call with like this head of PR of Bugatti, and like, so what's your best video on YouTube?
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, well, it's no.
I'll just put that one on private for a minute.
Yeah. But to be fair, I was back then like low on money and everything, and without Bugatti video doing like 1 million views and me getting at the time like, I don't know, like it was over 1,000 euros, that literally fed me through the 2 months that I had, and eventually I could even like buy a ticket to come here and work for Apex. So this is how Bugatti made me what I am today.
Wow,
you know,
there you go.
in a way. But yeah, so we're talking. We kind of agreed. Okay, we're gonna do that. We kind of got along. And the funny thing, so I come from Rimac, go to my Audi shoot, and then I continue here to host this whole Bugatti shenanigans. We arrive at their secret, well, not that secret, prototype test center here. We go there, and we stand there with the head of engineering and everything, and the guy spots my badge from Rimac. He's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my working badge." What is this? I'm like, "Yeah, well, Rimac." What Rimac? I'm like, "Yeah, well, Rimac from Croatia." So he was like very like suspicious, like, what the are you doing here? What? Like he started like really panicking. I'm like, "Yeah, dude, like I don't know, like, but we're not competition or something." And then I heard later, like, because I asked first also like of approval, like, "Hey Marta, hey Mate, do you mind if I go to do something with Bugatti?" And like, no, it's fine. And then later they told me after I done the whole thing, like, you know, like we in this process of the whole takeover and this and that. So for Bugatti guys, so for all of a sudden the Rimac guys standing up, they're like, "Are you spying on us?" They're like, what's happening here?
Brilliant.
Like, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, let's get some beers and some drinks and move the SOP of the Chiron because engineers might get drunk the following day. It might not happen." Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I don't know why I ended up telling the story, but here we are. Anyway.
Yeah, no, well, that was all the
Yeah,
tie-in.
so this was the time. Yeah, 2020. We still, we did the stuff with Bugatti. We did the stuff with myself. I moved from Rimac to here. Indeed, that was the funny story. And I moved here back on the 1st of September 2020, and ever since I have been uploading daily. Now, what happened afterwards, actually, I think somewhere in mid-September, it was happening, a DTM was happening here. And on one day, I come here into the office and like, "Oh my God, that was so amazing. That was so fantastic." I'm like, "Guys, what are you talking about?" Robert Kubica came and rented the car and this and that. I'm like, "Who?" Like, I have literally no idea who the guy is. Like, you know.
Oh, did you genuinely not?
I genuinely don't know.
No way.
Because you're not into F1 at all.
Not into F1 at all. I know Hamilton, Verstappen nowadays. I know, okay, Norris. Is Ocon still driving?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Leclerc, obviously, because I'm kind of a bit more into it, but I don't watch a single race.
Yep.
I don't have time for it, and I have no interest. I like driving myself, and I like watching. It's as simple as that. The only race I would watch is 24 Hours of Nürburgring.
Yep.
And occasionally 24 Hours of Le Mans, and yeah, that's kind of it. The rest is like, okay, I appreciate the talent and everything behind it. It's just not into it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, okay, Kubica came, who is the guy, F1 driver, like, okay, cool. And even like 2 days later, because he came here and got that M4 that is behind us to drive, because he was driving for BMW and DTM at the time. BMW wouldn't give him a car. And he's like, "Guys, what?" So he went
That
to
is unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, he went to another rental car company, and they also told him like, "Yeah, you need to have an instructor." To which he said, "I'm not taking an instructor." So he came to us, and luckily one of our guys here realized who he was. So like, yeah, you can have whatever you want, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then he ended up still taking all of BMW team for passenger laps, because they're like, "Okay, you take a sport lap." Like, dude, guys, what the actual F? Like, I asked you for a car, you can like give me a car, now all of a sudden you all want to drive the car that I'm renting. Like, come on. But yeah, we're like 2 days later, because he was here for the full week, I come in here, and then like he is talking about, "Oh yeah, I'm taking the L4 out." Like, so you're the guy, like this driver, right, that rented. Like, I still had no idea like who it was. Like, but he was like super cool, down to earth. People were coming here, like Polish families, because he's from Poland. He has a massive, another Kubica story I need to tell you in a bit. That's fantastic. Polish families are coming here, and he's like, the track is open, but he's like, no, he's still like talking to like, I don't know, 5-year-old kid signing his model car. He's like, "Hey, no, I'm there for my fans." He's like, was the best down-to-earth guy. He's like, no, and then whereas things I've witnessed from other drivers, no, he's definitely up there with being one of the best ones, you know?
Yeah.
And that was very cool. So we ended up talking, and I'm like, "Hey, when you're done driving with all your BMW people, would you mind taking me for a lap?" And I'm like, he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go like tomorrow or something. Yeah, come by, we'll see. So we do a lap, I film it. I put like no thought to it whatsoever. I couldn't freaking care. Like, I filmed it one day. I think I published it like 2 weeks later. Nowadays, I would sprint and publish the same day, like exclusive, like F1 driver. So I forgot about it. I was posting some other videos. Then I posted, so I scheduled the video and I left to Italy for a small 3 or 4 day holiday to Robert because he has a house there. And I stopped at the rest stop just to have a small bathroom break. And I remember I published the video. The video went live at like, I don't know, it was 6 p.m. or something. And the bathroom stop was like, I think 2 past 6. And then once I'm done with my business, I looked at it like 3 minutes later and was within 10 minutes, the video had like, 50,000 views. I'm like, what the hell? That's my monthly amount usually. What is happening here? Yeah. And that's the first thing it was like, I don't know, like within a day, million views, it went completely viral. And that's when I got actually probably like close to, I don't know, it was probably 80,000 subs in also within a month or so. It was like a massive push and I was posting onboard. So people like, oh, so he's posting onboard content video. So I was still doing that, but it was also at the same time that I was still doing vlogs. So the first time when I posted the vlog after 3 weeks because how I felt like it, there were all kinds of confused and angry comments. What the hell is this? Why is it? Why are you showing us your face? I'm like, what?
Your new audience, didn't know you.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell is happening?
And your old audience are like, oh yeah, Misha's back.
Yeah, we have finally vlogs again. Yeah. But before we're going to continue, let me tell you this funny Kubica story, how crazy he is idolized in Poland. And that's actually like more than half of the views came from Poland. Like I think by now the video has close to 9 million views. Probably. Over?
Yeah.
Over?
I think it's nearly 9.5.
Yeah. So 5 of them are for sure from Poland alone. So I went to Poland to check on my BMW 34 M5 that I bought because I bought it in Russia, but I had to import it into Poland to do the whole conversion. It's a long story. I'm not going to bother you with that part because that's another hour. But the car was there in Poland, so I went there to check it. And a friend of mine who was like a good collection of cars, he's like, yo, come by, because he was also taking care of all the import. He bought another car from Russia himself, which was a BMW 1M. He bought it from Russia. It was all legal, all is good, all is great. But he decided to put Polish plates from his other car on the car because we're still talking mid-COVID, and he didn't want to get pulled over because we're on Russian plates and being asked the questions, what are you doing, where are you going? He was the kind of guy like, fuck you money, kind of like, I don't want to deal with that shit. So like, let's put Polish plates. That's the best idea to not attract attention. Then maybe if you don't want to attract attention, maybe you should not do 160 kilometer per hour drift through a massive roundabout because that's what attracted attention from the cops.
Yeah, I don't think they cared what the plates were.
No. So the guy pulled him over and he's like, dude, before you start talking, I just want to confess to you immediately. The plates on the car are not from this car. The car is legal. Here are documents. They're from this, but I just didn't want to go through the trouble with all the COVID. And so the cop is like, what kind of idiot are you? You made yourself more complicated than it is. So he's in the process of almost like losing his license, and everything. And then he's like, Misha, come for a second. It's like, do you know this guy? Yeah, face seems familiar. Yeah, it's the guy from a video with Kubica. And the cop is like, no way. He's like, can I take a picture with you? Oh my God. Guys, are you with Misha?
What?
Can you... So where are you guys actually going? Yeah, we're going to the mountain roads, just do some drifting. Yeah, go there. And our other squad is on the other side of town. You'll be fine. Just try not to kill others. You'll be fine. You can go. Wow, that's so amazing. My nephew's never going to believe that. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
That's super.
That's unreal. That's just you. So imagine he could get away with anything out there then.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It's just like me made a video with Kubica and they're like, okay, I'm just like, I wasn't a passenger seat with him. So
if you want to do any crime in Poland, just take you with you.
Yeah. Or Kubica.
Yeah.
Well, he should be your getaway driver because that guy can drive for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, long story short, why I've gotten to this point is because then I fell in love with the Nürburgring again. I started doing certain things. I realized that people like one thing, and fast forward, at a certain point, I think in 2021 or even by the end of 2020, someone came to me, like gave their car to me, like, hey, would you like to do a lap? Because I don't know the place and I known you for many years. I did a lap, people like that. Then more people came and more people came. And fast forward to, a few years later where we are now today.
It's amazing. Yeah. You said after, so just to put things into context, that earlier today, Misha took Ped out for a lap, which we'll get onto now, I think. But when after you taken him for a lap, Misha, we went and had lunch at Devil's Diner, and he was shaking, and I mean, he was like a 10-year-old child for ages, and he just kept talking about bits and pieces, which I can, I know exactly, I can relate to it. But one of the things he said was, there is no way that Misha's taking my car around them. There might have been a swear word in there as well, but oh mate, it was hilarious. I don't doubt his driving, but no way, not my Porsche.
It's okay, I don't like doing Porsches anymore. They've been too often on the channel anyway.
Oh, yeah. It's all right then, because he's still not driving it.
But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because you do see that. I mean, you drive these cars hard and fast, and you know, there's obviously an element of room in there for errors and respect and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it is amazing. People are obsessed. Like they just, you know, they want to. Well, it's a great way of meeting someone that they absolutely love and watch, and having that intimate 10 minutes with, because you know it's not, you know, you can't reach out to many famous people and just go, I want to spend 10 minutes with you. But if you've got a car that's interesting and coming here, it's an easy way to do it.
I came to the ring earlier this year, but didn't go round either driving or as a passenger, just watched from the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And then so today was the first lap, first experience. Yeah. I've watched many onboards of yours. I've driven it on a sim and all that. You can put all of that to one side. Nothing can prepare you for the experience of driving a car around the ring, or being driven like you did. The changes of elevation, the undulations, the camber, the G-forces, the going past the traffic. How many cars did we go past today? Because it was busy.
Yes.
We went past a lot and we didn't get past once.
Yeah. And you were in
just
what, 250 horsepower GR86?
No, 230.
230.
Yeah, it's fully stock. Yeah.
I mean, it's still obviously with you behind the wheel, it's a rocket ship. But imagine could you imagine you were in something like that? I mean, it's but yeah, well, yeah, I've experienced it quite a few times with Misha as him as a passenger, and obviously him taking me around. It's just it's an experience and a half. It really is.
If you just come to the ring,
if you're thinking about lending your car to Misha, just do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
I think we all like to think we're quite handy at driving. Yeah. And then today was a real kind of reset for me, because it made me realise I'm rubbish.
Yeah, well, I think the ring is such a. We talked about this. We went down to Brunchen a few hours ago. It was the busiest I've seen it outside of the N24. It was just like amazing. It was beautiful. Hundreds of people on chairs, and it was such a nice atmosphere down there. Everyone watching people come through. But we're talking about the experience, and I mean with you, and obviously mutual friend, people like David Pittard and Tim Morley, and whenever you ask someone like yourself, how long has it taken to learn the track, and usually the normal answer with any of you guys at that level, it's like, well, I'm still learning. Like every day, every lap is a learning lap, right? Because it's so that place is so technical out there, and every lap is completely unlike a track day. We go to, let's say, I don't know, Bedford at home. Usually get a couple of clear laps. Occasionally you'll meet one car somewhere, but it'll be on a straight because you can only overtake on the straight. So every corner is pretty much the same line. But here, every single lap is completely different, isn't it? The overtakes, the cars, the closing speed. It's just, and so trying to compute all of that, it is just, and then on top of that, the worry about fluids and all of that. It's just, I find it, I just find it amazing.
I'm going to quote you, because I asked you that question today, how long does it take to learn? And your answer, I just thought was brilliant. You said 100 laps and you might just know when to turn left and when to turn right, and then a lifetime and you'll still be learning.
Yes. Yeah. And that's exactly it.
Such a good quote.
Yeah, because it is the longest track in the world, like I said, left and right, but you also mentioned all the bumps, all the jumps.
The jump, yeah,
Yeah.
that one, yeah, just before the sharp right-hander.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I didn't-
Plants Garden.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, and every year there are new bumps forming because of all the trees growing alongside. So there like might be a root underneath the track that may formulate a bump. So all of a sudden it changes completely the way you need to drive a car, because it might be on a straight, it might be before a braking zone, it might be in a corner. They're going to resurface a place, so they're going to change the tarmac, and it might be not completely seamless. So it might make another jump, not only another like a bump, but on top there will be also grip level difference, because then the old one is extremely grippy in the dry, extremely slippery in the wet.
Yep.
And the new one is going to be like kind of average, and is going to be good. And if you know exactly where is grip and where is not, and where is jumps and where are bumps. And that's the thing that catches many people off guard, because those tiny little things, they have such a tremendous effect on the handling of the car. For example, like this, again, the Kubica M4, that's also the first Apex car that I crashed. No, well, I had a small bump with the GT86, but this one went straight into a tire wall in Starstrecke, because there is a small bump before that. And if you start braking in the usual braking zone, like with any other car, the car goes in a full ABS ice mode, because the front axle lifts over the bump, and then it thinks like, oh, you're on ice or you have no grip. Let's engage full ABS, and you don't have all the braking power. And that was the beginner mistake of mine, to have that happen, because this is something you don't think about.
Yep.
You know, with many cars, stuff like that happens. Megane RS is very sensitive for that, BMW in particular. And a couple of others as well, where it happens when you either go over bumps or also jumps. You need to be very careful with the brakes. So these things start catching people off guard, who think like, oh, I know the track, I know it goes here left or it goes here right. But there's completely different, small, tiny thing. And in the end, it's not a question if you're going to crash, it's when.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen when you least expect it. Because if you know, like, there, I need to take it easy, you're going to take it easy and you'll be prepared for it. But like all of my latest crash with like last year with the F80, well, I curbed the wheel actually this year. So that was actually quite embarrassing.
It's the best kind of crash though you want to have, really, isn't it?
Exactly. But that was also like in the corner that I've done 100,000 times. And like all of a sudden the car went. Like, you know, I'm like, something happened. And it was like, it was unexpected, unprepared, and you go for it, because you would be prepared, you would never crash.
Yeah.
So that's the reality of things.
And what would you? I think I always. I know you're very good at advising people, because there's a lot of people, I'm sure, from the UK especially. I mean, you walk around here, every other car's got a British plate on it, and unfortunately, a lot of the let's call them idiots that drive around here at night tend to have British plates on them as well, screaming up and down and using it as a racetrack out here. It's a public, like this is a village. It's a, you know, people live around here, so keep that to the toll road. But anyway, I'm going off subject. If you are thinking about coming out to the ring, and it is your first time, and whether you're a competent driver or not, what would you advise people? So, I mean, obviously we talked about Apex. You've got a lovely lineup of cars. What would you tell someone to come down, and what would you say? Go out and so for a few laps with an instructor. How would you tell someone to approach their first time?
Yeah, so I always tell them for the first lap when they go out for yourself. Do not try to beat any lap records. Do not try to prove anything to anyone, because your victories, any 24-hour winners, well, you know that David Pittard won it because it's your mate.
Yeah.
Had it been anyone else, could you name last year's winner of 24-hour race?
Shamefully,
You were there.
Yes. Yes. Dries Van
Yeah,
Dor.
it was because you were there.
Yes.
Again,
yes.
and you were
And
working.
with Audi. I was there with Audi. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but had you not been, then probably big chance you wouldn't.
Exactly.
Be, you were not
I don't know his teammates, for instance. Yeah.
Yeah. Me neither, actually. I also don't even remember. I know this year also David Pittard, it was like Laser, and then this is other people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even now I cannot, like me with all my networking knowledge, I'm like, those 4 people, I need to look it up. Riccadelli, Ferrari, great.
Yes.
First win, first non-German manufacturer in 20 years. No, what I'm getting at, the victories will be forgotten tonight, but your failures like me crashing in Breitscheid in the wall, people still be bringing up, oh, you crashed back in the day, you're a bad driver. Like, you know, people will remember your mistakes forever.
Yeah. Well, like gear changes.
Yeah. And
I wasn't going to say anything then.
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah,
It's true.
that's the thing. And from all these people who point out other mistakes, their onboards are not online, so people cannot criticize them.
Yeah.
So they tell how great of a driver they are, and everyone just believes because people are just naive by nature.
Yeah.
Why would someone lie about their greatness?
Yeah.
Does he have something to compensate for? So if you're going to tell back home, when you drive your 12-minute first ever lap or 15, I don't care, and you're going to say like, oh, I've done sub 9 or something, they're going to believe and not care.
Yeah.
You're gonna drink a couple of more beers, and next time you're gonna tell me you drove a sub 8.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, it's like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Literally nobody, and let alone some random guys on YouTube or internet. It's all at the end of the day what we do is the entertainment, and that's kind of it. So when you come here, just like disregarding the safety aspect, do not to like try to injure yourself or others, or do not chase any trophies or anything. And at the same time, this is for me, literally, and for many other people, this is the most beautiful racetrack in the world as well.
Yeah.
Because, and like, I heard like one of the local guys, his name is Daniel Schwelfeld. He's one of the best instructors out there. And I remember him talking to other drivers, and he said, when you go drive your 24-hour race for the first time ever, your first night stint, take 10% of your pace, 20% of the pace, and enjoy the scenery, because it's like the first time ever you're gonna do it, and like to soak it all in. Because for us at night driving, that's something different, seeing all these camp lights, people like having laser shows and whatnot. But for someone coming in for the first time at daytime, that's already something special, you know, like slow down, just stay on the right side, indicator to the right, look in the mirrors that there is no fast cars, look ahead of you, and just enjoy, soak it in, because you will remember your first lap forever, hopefully.
Yep.
And it should be a good experience. And after that, of course, if you are not chasing, but pursuing is a better word, of becoming a better driver or more knowledgeable, or you want to actually become a faster driver, therefore also safer driver, of course, the best way is to have an instructor, local instructor. You can take it with your own car. If you don't have an own car, of course, you can come to Apex or any other rental car company and take one of their cars. And just practice. Now, another aspect people are going to say, what about sims? Yes, to understand where it goes left to right. Because I know from all the pro drivers who actually are industry pool drivers, lap record holders who are from different countries, never been here before, but had to come here to do their job, and they've been doing some sim practice, they said, yeah, great, waste of time, because once I got here, I had to relearn the whole thing, because dimensions, the inputs, there it's so precise and so necessary that you need to relearn the whole thing, basically.
Yeah.
So I got distracted by some straight pipe.
UK plate.
Car. No, but this is general advice. Just come for yourself, do it for yourself, enjoy. Do not try to show off because there's no one's gonna care. Like even those guys who are chasing the sub 7 E36 among locals, yes, those 10 people that care, they care. Like who is the fastest, but.
I mean, we saw all sorts going around today. There was a family of 4 in a VW Beetle convertible.
With the roof off.
How about that guy with his... he had his 2 little kids in the back and his wife in the passenger seat.
Yeah, E63.
Yeah. And they'd just done their first lap.
From the UK.
Fantastic.
I'm going to send you a picture, but I'm going to show it to you now, actually, because this is actually fantastic. So I drove 3 days ago or so. It was a GT3 Cup car, basically, on plates. Pretty much. And the photographer, Martin, from Touri Photos, that he always stands in the carousel, he took a nice shot and he says, this is what TF public sessions means for me. So here's a picture of a cup car, and behind there's a guy on a moped.
Oh, look at that.
Look at
what
this.
A legend.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Me, they're sending it with no helmet or safety gear. Another different topic, you know, like going in this cup car. And there's like a guy of 80 years old on his own moped trying to.
Wow.
And this is why it's so unique in the world, why, you cannot imagine anywhere else. And this is why we need to be careful with it. That's why people should not be an absolute dick.
Yeah.
that can endanger this place.
Because it is a toll. It is a toll road, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like legally speaking, when it was still government owned, and nowadays it still has this very nice exclusive status that it's still a now privately owned toll road. And for some UK insurers, there's just like one-way motor toll road in Germany that is excluded from the policy.
They're like all insurers.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So yes, it is still a public road. So if you come here, your car needs to be street legal, it needs to be on plates. You need to be driving according to public road rules. Do not overtake on the right. Obey speed limit in certain cases. You shouldn't be. Well, obviously you don't have to obey. There's not gonna be with laser gun. But if you're gonna have a crash there, police gonna come like, aha, you were driving too fast. It's your fault.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Well, that's. I mean, okay, that's amazing.
Talking about driving, is that a good segue into the lap record, Rimac Lap Record?
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah.
We'd love to hear about that because that's.
Yeah. Again,
what would you like to know? What I'm allowed to talk about based on my NDA?
Well, maybe that. Well, let's just talk about lap records in general and have that as part of the story.
I think that's a very cool topic.
The industry pool and all this.
Everybody, all the manufacturers want their car to be its class Nürburgring lap record holder.
Yes.
And you look at some of the onboards in the past, whether it's, I remember watching a McLaren P1 and just sitting there aghast or whatever it might be.
Well, you never seen a McLaren P1 onboard because there was never one made. There was a marketing video made about, have we gone sub 7? Of course we have.
You're the man to ask.
Wait,
right?
did you do the voiceover for that?
No.
You mean that was a fake?
There was no onboard. They just said like there was like some scenery pictures of car driving past, and it's like, have we done a sub 7? Of course we have. Yeah, you counted your best lap sectors because your battery ran out of half the lap, and you're like, oh, if our battery
Theoretically.
theoretically we could have done it. And like, well, why you never done it? Like, why don't you unleash the Santa here? Oh, because it's a Christmas tree car after a quarter of a lap. Okay.
Christmas tree car. I love it.
Yes, the dashboard is a Christmas tree.
Because I suppose, up until very recently, lap records, they were a bit of a grey area, weren't they, really?
Yeah,
Anyone could come, like, I don't know, just randomly, let's say, Lamborghini, they could turn up with a race car and just claim that it's a road car.
NDAs.
Misha's having a major meltdown here.
Prodding him,
going, what are they talking about now?
No, let's
turn this volume up.
Let's talk about lap records in general before we move in.
I've never seen him get so shy.
Okay, well, I mean, the fact that you are crumpling up into a ball of shyness is probably quite an interesting thing.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it's like some certain things that I'm allowed and not allowed to talk about. But anyway, that's why I never spoke about a lap record that may have not have happened or something. Anyway, let's get to the point. First of all, why are lap records interesting? Why is it's such a big thing? Why is nobody caring about Fiorano, that Ferrari is faster than the previous model Ferrari? Because there's no benchmark.
Yeah.
Why is a benchmark here? Because as you could have seen yourself here on the first lap today, you have undulations, corners. The first part of the track of Volkswagen Golf can keep up with the GT3 RS because it's about handling. Then it's about many long straights. You need to have a top speed. You need to have aerodynamics, suspension being tested on all the bumps, all the jumps. You have a very long, like I would say, 4-kilometer climb, which is full throttle, where many of the cars that I'm driving actually overheating, stock cars or even modified cars, especially modified cars. So the car, every single thing needs to work. Cooling components, suspension components, the engine, the driver, the weather needs to be okay. I know manufacturers that have been coming here 7 times and it was like, I don't know, one patch of the track was wet or it was something was not working or it was too hot. We'll get that later also with this like a very big dilemma that Rimac had with the lap record time publication. So everything needs to work and then you need to hope for the best. And then you are up against all the others. And of course, this is when you come here, it's such a big, people don't understand. It's not that you hop in the car, you do one lap, you have a lap record. it's months or weeks or months of preparation of all the engineering. If it's a manufacturer, you need to have the whole engineering here. Back home, you need to have analysis. Let's refabricate one part and this and that. It's sometimes in total, collectively, it's years of work if you combine all the efforts combined. It's so much money, and also renting, paying for the hotels, for the crew to stay here, for renting the track, participating with industry pool, then renting the actual lap record slot with a notary, with TUV guy coming over. It's a ton of money. And then to have a car that's performing 1 second slower than your competition,
Wow.
well, you need to make sure that everything is going to be the best. And then, of course, you're going to end up cheating to make sure that it's going to be the best. The problem with that is, of course, where you're going to draw the line. Like, what is production spec car? Some people say, like, one of the recent examples, for example, Honda, aside from them not running the stock gearbox and higher boost levels, which is completely proven on the car, they were running Cup 2 tires. Great tire, we all know, Michelin, great.
Hey, good one, Misha.
Yes.
Hey.
So they were running Cup 2s because it's so good.
Yes,
The
fantastic.
problem is in their disclaimer of their lap record is it's not a tire you can buy from the dealer, and it's not a factory tire.
Ah, okay.
A month ago, someone crashed their latest FL5 Type R here on the Nürburgring, had a court case. I have it, the whole thing. He wanted to make a video about it, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to throw with shit. But the outcome was that Honda said, because he ran out of brakes, the brakes failed. And one of the reasons for them to giving that, you were running Cup 2s, which is not a factory tire.
Wow, but it's what they use.
But it's what they...
Wow.
You know, so like,
make your own bed and lie in it.
His argument was, I bought the car because it's got the time around the ring. It's like, yeah, but...
you're not allowed to.
Oh, wow.
It's like, because you were running Cup 2s and different brake pads, it gotten too hot, too much stress on the car, so the brakes didn't perform or something like that. Anyway, there's a lot at stake of doing that. That's why many manufacturers do not want to get into this field. They're like, well, shit, if we're going to get into this, we need to keep on doing that.
Yeah.
So that's why, for example, like Ferrari, they started coming here, but they give their car to Christian Gebhardt from Sport Auto for the Super Sport test because it's independent journalist. He is usually like, I don't know, like 5 seconds off the pace what a factory car or a factory driver would do who has many, many times with the car. So he's still extremely fast, extremely good. But they can always throw in the card of like, oh yeah, but this was just a journalist driving us. But still, he's driving the same cars against others. So, you know, they kind of playing the game, but they're not playing it officially without having to spend way too much money to it.
Yeah.
So many car manufacturers actually don't want to get into this because it's too costly. Once you get into that, you need to keep on doing that because the next model, your competitor gonna bring it. All of a sudden, they're faster. You need to prove yourself. But at the end of the day, it has proven that the cars, that the records, the lap records that they sell cars, whether we talk about lap records or about the top speed records of SSC to Atara back in the days.
Oh, that was another subject.
So want to talk to you about that as well.
If you want to talk about that. I have many, many proofs of ranging from people messaging me directly asking, is this the lap time? Because I'm about to buy that car. And people actually buy the car. It's not like some 14-year-old.
Yeah.
That guy actually comes next year to me like, hey, do you want to drive it? Because this GT3 RS I bought because you told me it's the greatest thing in the world, you know?
Yeah.
So people base their purchasing decisions simply on the fact that they want to have the fastest and the latest. So it is very important to be here. There's a lot of stake, etc., etc. I think I explained that part. Now, the problem is up until 2019, it was quite open game. Like varying from McLaren, who you would come here, so like, of course we've done a sub 7, and people would just have to believe it. Oh yeah, it must be because the car is so powerful. Like, yeah, why not? Of course, why would they lie? To people point that people would take GT3 cars or something in between, and then there are people, of course, who want to try to play more or less fair, and then it's kind of unfair towards them, you know, when someone is having like I said, it's okay to use maybe a different tire, but then there's another competitor of theirs that takes completely full-blown GT3, WTCR car or whatever. And then at that point, they're like, guys, this is not cool, or they speed up their videos. Yeah. And this is the point where I was bringing up quite often, like, this is come on, like really, like
the other one I now was it the 919 tribute, the Porsche?
yeah,
That was amazing.
it was an
to watch.
unreal record.
Yeah.
Also driven on Michelin.
Oh yeah,
Naturally.
Yes.
because that went round. That decided it was going to destroy the lap record on all the big tracks in the world, and it
Yes.
just went on a tour and just
Yeah,
did
they did that. 5 minutes 19.
Wow.
wow.
But the predicted lap time, according to simulations, was 4 minutes 30.
4:30. Oh, I thought. Yeah, I heard you talking about it, but a human would maybe not even be able to do that.
Well, it's one point is that. Second point, there were a couple of other technical limitations because I believe like Michelin told them actually something, you need to run the tire at 5 bar or something to make it work. And they're like, 5 bar through Foxhole at 350 kilometers per hour. How about no? We don't want to see anyone die there. And then also with the heat that was on that day, the tire was actually, after halfway through the lap, it was actually a bit, not drivable. Same happened to Rimac, by the way. But the thing is, I believe the first run he did that day was like 5 minutes 39 or something. That was dropping every 10 seconds. And on this third lap, he did 5:19, to which like Porsche said, okay, then you're done. We don't want to see anyone die. Can you please stop? Yeah, can you please stop?
That's
because
just unbelievable.
yeah. So the car, and I've been saying that I do believe that the next record is going to be autonomous.
Yep.
Because although maybe a person can process it, I don't think there's any company out there that want to put human life at risk at the speeds that you need to achieve to make these kind of lap times.
Sure.
Right. So anyway, I was complaining a lot, and other people as well, especially manufacturers, that are we good on cameras and everything, checking all good. Yeah, perfect. We were saying like, hey, this is a bit too crazy. So in 2019, Nürburgring has actually set up an official lap timing commission. So if you now want to do a lap record, you need to not only rent a track, you need to announce it saying it's going to be for a lap record. You're going to have a TUV engineer coming, checking if the car is actually street legal, if it's not a GT3 car, if it has a chassis number, if all the parts on the car are street legal, that you're running normal tires, normal brake pads. He has like an actual technical sheet of what the car is, what it should be, how much camber it should be running, how much it is running now, and you will see actually like that it's, it is what it is.
Yep.
Of course, there are some changes here and there, but that manufacturers do. But at least it has gotten to a point that the car is verified to quite a strong degree that it is a production spec car, and also notaries verifying that it's actually the lap time that people have achieved, and that people are not gonna say like, the super special Bugatti just did 6 minutes 30. We have a 6:47 lap time, but 6 minutes 30. Yeah, you just have to believe us.
Yeah. It sounds better.
Yeah, exactly. So. Things like that, and I think is a good step in the right direction. That now it's at least being verified, and people can. It's now a fair play. It may cost a bit more money for manufacturers to do it because it has to be done in an official way, but it's being done in an official way. So, what was the next point about the lap records? I guess the Rimac.
Quick question: just driver choice.
Driver choice. Ooh, yes.
Because, I mean, there's a couple of... The obvious thing is whoever is driving the car has to know the ring inside out. But are there some go-to guys? And who would you say is the fastest driver around the ring?
The fastest driver around the ring is the guy who has been here racing and knows the ring. So when you look at the most relevant car manufacturers, like who are really in this game for long, such as Porsche, they would put their test and development drivers who are driving here on industry pool anyway, who are winning 24-hour race. So we in the recent years we had Lars Kern, we had Kevin Astry. Now it's mostly Jörg Bergmeister driving it, who have years and years of experience. They know this track, they know everything. It's very important. When we look, for example, at Tesla, I don't remember who drove their records, the recent ones. I feel very terribly sorry and very, very bad. But I remember like the first one that they did with the Plaid or the Model S. It was done by, I know the guy personally, and I forgot him. Too much talking, too many names. But it was a local Swedish driver who actually also racing for 24 hours. He's been racing for Glickenhaus, etc. So yes, most of the people do go for local drivers because you need to have experience on track.
Yep.
Simply.
Comes back to what we were talking about earlier on, really. At a higher level even.
It is about, because someone who is experienced at the track and even on professional level, it might be worth a second, but it's still a freaking second. And the second's what it's all about here quite often,
Yep.
And it might be even worth significantly more, hundreds of thousands of euros, because you will have less time to actually get the driver up to pace, or he won't be crashing your car or something. There's lots of things playing in return. In case of Rimac, since this was like kind of the topic that was started, it was a Croatian driver, very talented guy. Someone actually commented on my video. Martin Kodric is his name. He loves the steak, good women, and drive cars fast, and he's good at it.
Sounds like a good guy.
And he's a very good-looking guy as well.
And he is a very sporty guy as well, because his favorite thing is to do boxing for like many hours with a private trainer, and that's a thing that is extremely good for driver's fitness, like the reaction time that you get. Definitely driver is a very important key point in choosing the right guy for the job. So when it comes to that.
And that the Rimac lap record, which only happened when? Fairly recently.
Last Friday, or was it the Friday before?
Yeah, so
last Friday, so a week ago.
Yeah,
Was it a week ago? Yeah, it was a week ago.
Very, very recently.
Yes.
Talk us through so the conditions and stuff. You touched upon it a second ago. You said that they weren't ideal. Why were they not ideal? In what sense?
Yeah, so the lap record thing, first of all, I want to say it's a massive achievement to the whole engineering department of Rimac, because Nevera, first of all, it was, although for everyone, for an average car guy, 2000 horsepower, so this means the car can go fast. Well, Bugatti also has a shit ton of horsepower, but it's not intended to go fast in the corners. That's why they never done it, because it would not going to be impressive. Let's be honest about it. The car is made as a very fast road car, and of course fast accelerating car, and it needs to be able to take corners, and it has proven that it's able to take corners for its capabilities. And they've done a tremendous job, whereas other manufacturers might say like, no, we're not going to do it. Why should we do it? Because we already have 23 world records in a single day, and we already selling a good amount of cars. Why would we spend so much money? So it's a great achievement to the team, especially the team that has never been here, but somewhere in Croatia. Many hours on simulators, of course, like an actual, not the driver simulators, but simulations of the car to make it work during the development phase. So it was like, when I was working at the time in 2020, I was like, is it the engineering department? Like, let's have a look. What are we doing here? What are we doing? So how fast will a car go through this section? You should change this. You should change that. And,
did you put quite a lot of pressure on them in a roundabout kind of way about getting them out here to do it back in the day?
I think I was so annoying to them that they probably just want to say, we're going to do it. Just can you please shut up? No, but it was a very important part for me back then, because I was like, always like annoying, but I'm really happy to see it happen, of course.
Well, it's your two worlds coming together, isn't it?
Exactly. And I'm extremely grateful for them to actually tell me like, yo, Misha, you want to join us for this big moment, and even film, and can you tell us where we can buy some schnitzels and stuff, so like a couple of things here and there. The problem that the team ran on that particular day, there were a couple of things. So first of all, they were here, of course, throughout the year testing, and the last, I think they were here for, a period of 2 or 3 weeks consistently to preparing for this particular day. And it's not that you can come here like, hey, Nürburgring, I would like to do a lap record today. No, the date for that, I had it in my calendar already for months, like somewhere in April, like I was notified, can you mark it in your calendar,
Yeah.
So it was like, obviously that, and this was the only day that they could get. So everything was put on a line there. Now, prior to that, 3 weeks to that, they were here consecutively. Of course, they were here before with Industry Pool, to which they asked me, please do not film that, because then we're going to be setting expectations to people. Of course, car spotters would film the car anyway, but if I'm going to do it, then it's like, it's obvious that something is
You're not up there with your stopwatch and Sabine Schmitz going,
exactly.
Well, I think it's going to be about this.
So 3 weeks prior to the event, the ambient temperatures would not go above 21, 22 degrees, which was actually quite optimal conditions, was quite okay.
Yep.
So all the data analysis, everything, all the preparations was done according to what we were expecting it to be. All of a sudden, the Friday of the record, it goes above 35, like close to 35 degrees. The track temperatures reached above 50 degrees. And it was like, what the actual F? So the target was, and the car may or may not have done already sub 7 in industry pool, and the target was way below that.
Yep.
And the car goes out, and the first lap it does, it's like 7:07. And we're like, well, F. So what are we doing, you know? And the thing is, I'll show you the video. Someone filmed it outside the Brunchen. The tires are just melting away when the car is going on the track.
That's I've seen that clip. Yeah,
how hot it was, and it was just unbearable.
Yeah.
So the second run, the choice was made was actually to slow down in the first section of the track. So when you watch the onboard, I think the onboard that you see of the record run of 7:05, the car is doing, I think, 316 or something through Schwedenkreuz, which is still faster than anything out there before, except for 919, of course. But the first run that nobody has seen, but I had the pleasure to watch, the car did 327 through there. And by babying the car still, because like making sure that he can, like, because he was kind of aiming for it. Oh, let's see if we can make the braking zone, you know?
That's over 200 miles an hour.
Yes, way over 200 miles per hour. So by going slower in the first half, they could save the tires to actually get the extra 2 seconds.
Right.
But even that was just like, it was too hot, unbearable, and it was off target. And then the question was like, okay, guys, from their side, what are we going to do? Are we going to announce the record? Because it's, of course, 20 seconds faster than the current record holder. But even the team is kind of like, nobody is really happy with the result, knowing how much faster the car can go and would go.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you cannot have the date from the Nürburgring to do it this year.
Yeah.
So by the time you're going to have it for next year, another manufacturer is going to do something, like, for example, Porsche might bring out the Taycan,
Yeah.
which is going to be significantly closer. And then your gap between the existing record is going to be smaller, or maybe even less, or maybe there's going to be another manufacturer. It's like, what do you do at this point? You know, it's a lot of pressure. Like, I mean, at this point, it's the fastest car out there, and no discussions. You know, like from an EV.
Yeah.
It is the fastest out there. And yes, of course, it's not as impressive as people expected, but that's not only the people outside. Everyone is agreeing, like, well, if the weather was good, we would have seen the very low 650s, or even maybe even below.
Well, I mean, the lap watching watching the numbers is just insane on that lap. I mean, watching the acceleration gain everywhere, and the way it just almost grabs the scenery and just goes like that. And you're just like, it's unreal. But I wanted to ask you something. Obviously, I'm a bit tire obsessed. This podcast is sponsored by Michelin. And that record run was done on the Cup 2Rs, if I'm not, and I'm sure they're obviously homologated special ones for that car. Now it's interesting because you guys run a lot of PS4Ss here in Norway. You run Cup 2s, and you did trials from Cup 2Rs for a while, which didn't make sense in your scenario here because, you know, money doesn't grow on trees. But I also remember you guys did a back-to-back, a Cup 2 and a Cup 2R, I think on the GT2. Yep. And what you discovered, and mistake me if I'm wrong, is the Cup 2R around here, you could get a faster lap out of it, but it was literally one lap before it sort of overheated. And if you did 3 laps, the Cup 2 would have been consistently better or something like that.
Yeah, for sure, because of the consistency of the tire, it's pretty much a slick, but even to a more extreme version of it.
Yep.
Because the way that the tire has the grip levels that it has is the tire consistency and not some fancy pattern. Like
sure.
Because pattern-wise, it's quite close to a regular Cup 2.
Yeah.
If you don't see that it's Cup 2R, you will not see.
Especially the big ones on the Porsches, yeah.
Exactly. So on such a long track, on such a especially high-powered cars such as GT2 RS, even comparing GT2 RS and GT3 RS, GT2 RS is faster by like what, 5-10 seconds? I don't even remember. It's like been too many lap records ago to care about.
Yep.
But if you put those cars out for 3 laps, GT3 RS will actually be faster.
Right.
Because it will not, so the tires will not overheat. The car will also not suffer from it.
Yep.
So those are lots of things to take into consideration. So how much do we need to care about lap records actually?
Yeah, well, no, I just wondered that because, like you're saying, the compound on the Cup 2R, obviously, it's almost like a qualifying tyre, isn't it? In that sense, it's like
It is.
It's the most high performance road legal tyre, just about. But so I wondered in the Rimac's case, because you were having on that particular day. Obviously, we can't find out. But on that particular day, I wondered in my head when I watched it and I heard you talking about the tyres overheating and stuff and them having to baby it a little bit at the end. I thought, I wonder if a Cup 2 would have actually maybe done a similar time, if not a bit faster, because it would have dealt with the temperatures a little bit better. Or am I just getting a bit carried away?
I think no. I think at that point that's probably not the case.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm just a YouTuber.
Yes.
Who drives cars. So I don't know. What I do know is, for example, that the engineering team we talked about, and they told me like, not speaking like they said, okay, the difference between the temperatures we were like working with in the past and we were preparing for until the weather decided to do the typical Nürburgring thing, because it was not predicted to be this hot.
Yeah.
On my phone, it was showing the prediction to be like 24 degrees.
Yeah.
And then you grab a thermometer and like, it's not 24 degrees here. It's like 10 degrees more.
Yeah.
But that's what happens here. You have prediction to have thunderstorms, but it's actually staying dry.
Like today.
Yeah, it was meant to rain today, and it wasn't. It was
Yeah,
beautiful and sunny.
So it's really quite bad to that extent. But the thing is, they say, let's not even talk about 10 degrees difference. For them, a 0.1 bar of tire pressure difference is 10 seconds a lap difference.
Okay.
That's how crazy it gets there up to when you talk about that, when it comes to tire pressures. So combined with so much more temperatures and ambient and track temperatures, those are the 15 seconds that we couldn't get, I guess, that day.
Of course. Wow. Okay. Well, that's fascinating. I'm kind of conscious of the time. For one,
I have time.
No, I know. I just don't want to take up too much of it.
We're already at a record. It's our longest podcast. But we decided to go for it. Normally we stick to an hour. We thought, no, we've been waiting to get Misha on for such a long time. We're going to go for a longer one.
I enjoy doing this. I always said, like I say to everyone, I love doing stuff with other people because I don't need to edit it.
I know that feeling. In fact, I know that feeling on the podcast because we got Patrick.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, the SSC thing. That's definitely worth a little bit of a chat.
I was going to ask a little bit about that. So, okay, we were chatting on the way over. What are we going to talk about? I said, I really want to talk to you about the SSC Tuatara videos that you did with Robert and Tim.
Yeah.
Because
big shout out to Robert, actually.
Yeah.
And Tim. For having the balls to do it.
It was one of the best videos I think Tim's ever done because he actually, you saw Tim, it wasn't Shmi, you saw Tim then, didn't you?
Yeah.
You saw the Tim that we know that maybe the public don't really know.
Who was not afraid actually to say the truth because everyone would say like, hey, you trying to kiss every manufacturer's ass and always everything is so perfect and fine and dandy.
And that was just, when that all hit, I was just like...
I remember Joe messaged me and he said, have you seen the latest video? And I did, and my response was, I don't think the guys that watch videos like this, I don't think they realise just how much you and Tim and Robert put your online reputations and livelihoods at risk with those videos.
No, for sure.
It could have gone really badly.
Yes.
But because of that risk, the way you did it and the way it was presented and the follow-on videos you did, I just that's why I wanted to talk about it, because and if guys at home, if you haven't seen them, just do a Google and have a look, because you
need to watch them in order as well, don't you?
You do. And I guess let's very briefly explain what we're talking about, because some of you may never have heard of SSC Tuatara.
Speaking of which, where are they now?
Well,
not meant in a bad
way.
No,
but it's true.
This is where are they now?
Yeah.
But it what, 2 years?
No, it was also 2020. It was during my
COVID.
Yes.
It was COVID, because that made it even more. Everyone was just like, "Oh, what?"
Yes.
But anyway, so this car that not many people have heard of suddenly did the
530 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, absolutely smashed
world record. Smashed it by. And I think the problem, had they broken it by maybe 10 miles an hour, no one would have even asked a question.
Yes.
But because it was just so ridiculous,
and also the onboard, they had a blurred out. There were some weird things to start with. Like the onboard had a blurred out speedo. You couldn't even see the speedo. You think, what? Like,
that's what YouTubers do, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so when did you all realize that something was up and take the decision to do what you did?
Well, first of all, I need to say for the clarity of this podcast, there's been, again, too many cars ago to remember complete all details. And if you had me ask the question, you were going to ask me that on the podcast, I would have done more research to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
But I do remember, for the sake of honesty, also there were already, like, especially there's a very strong Koenigsegg community out there. And I think one guy, he actually already, like, made a Google Maps like calculation based on the distance traveled versus time, like the typical primary school formula, and said, hold on a second, this makes no sense, this cannot be. And then we started digging more into this video. I remember we were actually sitting behind this desk watching it there, and like,
was Tim here?
Yes.
By chance?
He was here because, again, COVID happened. He was back at the time actually living here in Germany, in Frankfurt, with Anna, his girlfriend. They're not married yet, not engaged. Why is he so slow? I thought he was only slow on track. But, I love you, Tim. Actually, we were speaking about my YouTube success and milestones, but a big part of that is dedicated to Tim, because at the beginning, when I just started, he was coming out here and making videos and shout outs and everything for me, or Boosted Boris or anything. So the early days, he put a lot also when we had Fuel Faction. So all the jokes are jokes. We were very good friends. And actually today I messaged him, like, I just drove a STO. It was the worst car I ever driven. And he messaged me back, that's the best message to wake up to.
Even the owner, because I was outside when he came back, because you took him out before me. Even the owner went, I just realised my car's rubbish.
Yeah. No, anyway, back on topic, because we love getting sidetracked here. No, Tim was here because it was COVID. He was staying here because Germany was more open than UK at the time. He had a house here anyway, so he was not breaking any rules. He was saving NHS by not putting pressure on NHS because he was not in UK, so nobody was having to treat him if he had the issue. Anyway, I'm gonna get so...
Moving on.
Yes. Anyway, he was here for all the reasons. And we started looking into the video, like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Like, the time-wise, the way the speedometer, or like the so-called GPS data speeding up, makes no sense in what you see visually. Then later we would see, like, the helicopter that filmed the car from the side that you can see out of the window, but the speed of the helicopter is lower than presumably the car was doing. So it's, the maximum top speed achievable by that helicopter model is lower than the car was doing. So there were so many things that made absolutely zero sense. And like you said, the big question was, like, are we going to put this out? Because that's, well, first of all, yeah, of course, a lot of people will, and they did. They called us just some YouTubers, some idiots who had no idea.
Yep, I remember reading all that.
Official big publications, etc. Because, let's not call any names, but a very big car magazine brand / TV production in the world put up that YouTube video out there.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, we were saying that they didn't do their homework, or they were supporting falsified records, you know?
Yep.
So everyone was trying to just talk down on us while we were bringing up every time more and more evidence with this. And going back to the fact that records sell cars, there were various hypercar manufacturers that reaching out to us. There are not many of them. By saying many, you can probably guess which ones they are.
Yep.
And they were saying, thank you for doing this, because A, we're not allowed to talk about this, and what happened is actually bullshit.
Yep.
Or, by the way, here are the technical specification of the car, because we are running the same gearbox in our prototype or something, and there's no way that the car can achieve that lap time. Can you have a look how you can put this information out there without us telling it to you?
Brilliant.
And finally, here are freaking 5 cancellations of our hypercar model, where we lost now, 15 million euros, because the customer went like, this is not the fastest car anymore. I want to have another one. So that was a big thing out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were doing a world a favor in one hand.
Yep.
If we speak from the hand of SSC, we were not doing them any favors.
Yeah.
Because again, where are they now? Where is any cars of theirs? What is happening with the company? I hope they're doing all right, but like
the thing I struggle with that, I just can't believe that they were so naive that they thought they'd get away with it.
But that's what's been happening over the last forever. Up until 2019, people could rock up to the Nürburgring and said, of course we've done a sub 7-minute lap time, and people wouldn't care.
Yeah.
There is no proof, and everyone will be like, well, yeah, the numbers seem to be plausible, so yeah, of course I'm gonna believe, because why would you lie?
Yeah.
And that's the naivety of people.
Yeah.
If you're gonna tell the people that you've done with them too, like a sub 7 lap or whatever, people gonna believe you
In third gear.
Yeah, because you had it in third gear. No, so there's many stupid explanations, but as you go through experiences in life and see what there are crazier things possible out there. So yeah, unfortunately it happened what it happened.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, once again, I think that's brilliant. And I know I commended you and Tim.
And like you said, there was lots of question, because for us, like, what's going to happen to our reputation? Well, for me at the time, was like YouTube was just like, still a side job, It was turning slowly into something. But had it been in US, we know how happy the US culture is.
Yep.
Especially like Tim going to US quite frequently. And actually all the comments from all the fanboys and haters were like, I hope you're going to sue your ass, you're going to pay for the rest of your life. We're not in America. Nobody's going to sue anything or anyone. But it can get ugly, of course.
Of course.
But surprisingly, there were like no negative responses from SSC side saying like, hey, you're idiots.
Yeah.
Like, no, there was always like some vague explanation that we would disprove the next time again.
Yes.
So... Yeah.
But for me, I think that's also a video that brought you onto a lot of people's radar.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But I hear it more about from professionals in the industry.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah,
those who've seen and actually care about the topic, because the general public, they just want to see the car go fast.
Yep.
And the rest, everything, they have enough drama going on in their lives, and they just don't care about the other drama. And the rest, they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, we'll follow it along. But actually, like professionals in the industry, they're like, okay, this is actually great. This is some detective work.
It's real journalism.
Well, you didn't just say, hey, look, it's a load of rubbish. The helicopter can't fly fast enough. Yeah. You went down and broke it into
numbers,
into some real numbers, and
yes.
you watched the video and you looked at the numbers and just thought, oh yeah, it's obviously just a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
It was just so well. It was almost like one of these investigative journalists.
No, we spent like, I remember the first night before like Tim's video. All hot.
Sorry about that, Patrick.
Was the first gear what?
Yeah.
That's what the S55 sounded like. Yeah.
And it was mega.
Yeah. No, we spent like, I believe the first night before publication, we spent literally the whole night without going to bed, like until 6 a.m. or something, like putting all the numbers down, making sure and making all these phone calls to engineers like, hey, is this correct what we're saying? Yes, this is correct. It was like a proper investigation work. If you would put like CSI tune on it, it would be like a proper tune. Yeah, very proper scenery.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool.
Any more questions on your list?
Well, I think the last thing. There's a couple of things.
Yeah.
The mental health. We talked about.
Yeah, we talked about how 2019 was the worst year of my life. Yes.
And I think, and obviously I've known you very well through those years and up till now, and I'm very up and down. We talk about mental health in here. Mm-hmm. I talk a lot about it on my channel and my Instagram, because I think it's very important that people talk about it and recognize it. And if people are going through a bad time, then unfortunately in today's world, it's actually quite a normal thing. Like there's a lot of pressures externally, and I think you had so many things going on that led to your boiling point, whatever. And I just, I think, is there anything you can say aside from the obvious of going and talking to people, professionals, if you're not just talking to your loved ones and your friends, if that's not helping you, professionals and stuff. But I think just looking at those guns of yours, I know that's something that you've, focused on so much for the past couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that has a big part to play with everything, and your physical health has a big part to play with your mental health. And it definitely helps with so many things. Have you got anything you can add to that, or?
It's hard, it's definitely hard. There's so many things I want to say, and I just probably gonna say them, and people hopefully gonna pick up on something that's gonna help them or change their lives or something. Like, one of the first things that comes up to my mind is now when we talk again about the previous podcast I did, it was about my history and all the crazy stories that we did. But the last 20 minutes of it was about how bad of a situation I was in, like in the past, when I was a kid, in my childhood, just briefly touched upon it.
Yeah.
But I've received so many messages from people saying like, oh my God, thank you so much for sharing this. I was thinking I'm the only one in the world that is going through these kind of things. That because out there on social media, everyone is saying how great of a life they have, that they have had such a horrible, and if they're going to try to look for help, they're going to be perceived as weak or as helpless or for whatever reason, and then just going in a downward spiral from there. So you are not the only one. Everyone is having their problems. Everyone is dealing in their own way in the problems. And then the question comes, how should you deal with that? You read all kinds of different, like people, the way they deal with their problems. Some people say like, I waste too much time on Reddit, for example. And I read quite often like, hey, how did you change your life? And people would say like, I started walking every single day for 10 minutes. Then it became 20 minutes, then 30 minutes, and it helped me to become more physically active and become in better shape. And it will also be in conjunction with my mental health, and then it would be better. It could be that. What did it become? What was it for me? Well, I met a girl actually in Croatia, not Maggie, because I met her here, but I was there, and then we had a fantastic day at the beach together. And then she looked into my eyes and she said like, I see you're unhappy. Like, why? Well, I see you're unhappy about yourself. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You like, who are you? Like, I met you like literally like 2 hours ago, and we actually got along quite well. And then she later told me like, well, she didn't like the way I looked. Like, that was like, well, I'm going to prove you wrong then, in a way,
Yeah.
Nothing worked out, but that was for me one thing telling me like, I'm unhappy. Am I unhappy? I'm like, yeah, I'm actually missing the Nürburgring maybe or something, maybe I'm not completely happy with how things are going and whatnot. And especially since when you look at the very old pictures of mine, if you can even find any, if you go on my Twitter account that I haven't used for 15 years, it's the same old profile picture.
It's called X now. Yeah.
All right, Dexter. Anyway, I was always very sporty. I was very physically into gym, into fitness, into bodybuilding. Well, I wouldn't call bodybuilding too extreme, but I was very sportily active. So whatever happened in the last 5 years when I became like a really bad, out of shape, overweight alcoholic at a certain point, and then I saw a picture of mine actually sitting on the beach and like massively overweight, and I'm like, all of a sudden, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And then at that point, I'm like, okay, I want to put a change to it because this is just horrible. Like, this is not afraid to admit these kinds of people. When I was in shape, I would look down upon, like being like, why you cannot be like, at least take care a bit of yourself. And I was far worse of that.
Yeah.
And then at the point when fat people were calling me overweight, or that I was perceiving them overweight, at that point, I'm like, okay, something needs to change. And of course, when it comes to like mental health for other people, maybe it's important to talk to someone, to go to a professional. They're definitely a better way. But I don't know, for me, it was always, there was one switch that would just like be like, okay, we need to change the situation because I want to become a better person, and I need to kick ass, and I need to do something about it. And in this case, it was like, okay, I need to pick myself up and become a better person. And I think, especially over the last few years, it definitely helped because not only my physical shape, I also did some good big dental work with my double jaw surgery because that was bothering me, this big massive cross overbite or underbite that I had since my birth, basically. Went through with that, and it's been great. I mean, what else can I say about it?
Yeah.
But yeah, mental health is a big thing, and especially everyone knows it on social media. That's a big toxic thing to be at when it comes to mental health. And especially, like I said, people look at it, everything is fine and dandy, and they think, oh, my life is miserable, I'm not allowed to complain.
Yeah, we've all done it. You've done it. I've done it. We even look at people and think, oh, there's still, but then you stop, oh, there's still levels to reach. But then, then you look into it and you're like, actually, I know that that's not all real. And I know that that's not the reality. You don't, post an Instagram story of you going to the toilet in the morning, do you? You show the good things, you show the positive things most of us do.
However, that's probably because you asked me before the podcast, you wanted to ask why is my YouTube channel actually maybe like took off or whatever not.
Yeah.
And especially in the beginning, and what made us different, Apex, from other companies, we would openly talk about crashes, for example. We would openly talk, this is what happened, this is what the customers are right, but this is amount of damage to us, damage to him financially.
Yep.
We would be open about things. The problem that we would perceive, and also from my perspective, I would also always put my crashes out online. So in the meanwhile, it's like close to 10 or something over the last 8 years or so, plus minus all kinds of variety of severance and how bad or good they were. The people focus so much on negative is that they say like, oh, you have crashed, you have a crash car at Apex every day.
Yeah.
You have people dying every day at Nürburgring.
Right.
You, Misha, is such a horrible driver. I'm like, well, I had in the last 500 different cars that I drove since last year, I had one big accident and maybe one small minor one.
Yep.
Like, let's take percentage-wise into account.
Yeah.
Whether it has happened, I don't care. It's like, I mean, obviously it hurt maybe a bit financially or whatnot, but it's a part of the job that we need to accept, I would say.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah.
But yeah, people focus a lot on the negative and not on the positive.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I think as the batteries are starting to run out on the cameras, Patrick
Camera one down.
Patrick's sweating back there. He's like, oh, I've run out of batteries now, so you guys are just going to need to wrap this up. But I think it's a great talk. We've almost been going 2 hours.
Yeah.
We've had a very long day. Which we didn't really even talk about apart from your lap. And
an epic day.
An epic. It has been absolutely epic. And I mean, I want to say on a personal level, Misha, you've been a great inspiration for me and a good friend over the years. And I've been through some pretty bad, up and downs, and you've always sort of been there for me. So thank you, as I get a bit emotional.
Hey.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's wrap it and we're going to get a beer. Misha's been great getting to know you the last couple of days, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm really really happy that we could make it happen. I was looking forward to that ever since I saw you guys making podcasts. I'm like, guys, can I be on your podcast? I want to talk about cars.
We'll be back for another one.
We'll be back. Well, there'll be a video on my channel of my onboard with.
And we need to do that with you because we tried to do it today, but
yes,
track closed, so we'll try to do it tomorrow.
Track closed for the 20th time.
Yeah, it was horrible, but we'll do.
But the good news is, I reckon we've still got time to go and get a beer.
Yes. Or gin tonic.
It's actually 20 to 11 at night.
Yeah.
That's how long a day it's been.
Yeah.
Good thing when your to-be wife is running a bar, so we can probably.
Let's do that.
And we got a designated driver. Well, that was Patrick speaking up. Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, let's wrap it. Misha,
thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, guys, thank you for joining us. See you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers. Tables.